Welcome back everyone, Mariah Monetize here, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the price of Bitcoin. Going to be telling you how I feel about the current levels and where I see Bitcoin going this particular year, and some catalysts that I'm pretty excited about. So I have, once again, I feel like every time I make these videos I tell you guys I haven't really spent much time looking at the price or the charts, and that is exactly it. One of the main reasons why is because at these levels, and especially because of the period of time that Bitcoin has spent at the $50,000 range, I think it's building some really nice support. I'm also going to be showing you, though, one thing that makes me believe that we could actually go down to $30,000. And at these levels, it's like, although I think that there's a possibility Bitcoin can go down to $30,000 or even lower than that, I believe that we are in a position to go parabolic at any time. I think we've also come to a conclusion that these 4-year cycles for Bitcoin are probably over. And that's a really exciting thing because I think that we're getting close to that inflection point on the technology adoption curve that puts Bitcoin in a position to go absolutely parabolic. So let's go ahead and zoom out on the weekly chart here on Bitcoin. And in my previous videos, I told you guys that there was something on that weekly chart that had me slightly concerned here. So for some reason, I am not able to pull up the 7-day chart. I'm not really sure where the 7-day chart went. Let me go and change this to days, 7, and okay, there it's back up. So when you see these thick red and green lines here, the moving averages, what I've talked about in previous videos is that this was concerning to me because when you look at the history of Bitcoin, typically when the green crossed below the red, it was a pretty long-term bearish sign. And I thought that there was a possibility that the green was going to cross back over the red, but the current prices have continued to go lower. So we are seeing some support here on this blue DMA, but it is looking quite weak. We might print the next week a 9, which this is this TD sequential system, these numbers above, and usually the 9 is a buying opportunity. You can see here, like this 9, it's not always the case. Sometimes it is the case, sometimes it isn't. You can see that this 9 candle was a great buying opportunity, but then you can see there was not even a 9 printed on this sequence. So I think that we're getting closer potentially. So I'm excited for the 9 next week, but I'm also concerned about these 2 moving averages. So there's a lot of conflicting things on these charts that have me very torn on if we're going to go lower or if Bitcoin is going to race to new all-time highs. And that is why I am doing nothing, because I don't feel confident in either direction. And for me, what I've learned is that when you sell your Bitcoin, it's really hard to get it back. And I don't want to put myself in that position where I sell, the price takes off without me, and I feel left behind. So I would prefer just to hold at this time and see how things unfold. There's just not a ton of clarity. A lot of contradicting information in that particular 7-day chart. So this right here is a daily chart on a Bitcoin. I don't like this green crossing below the red, and I also do not like that we saw candle closes below this moving average right here. What has saved us is that Bitcoin didn't go below of this previous low, which was about 45.5. So the low of this candle came in at 45,650. So it was really, really close. But if I do see Bitcoin break below the low of these candles over here, I would be concerned. And where would that take us? This is why I mentioned the $30,000 range. Let's see here. This is the daily chart. Maybe it was the hourly chart that I was looking at, but I know that we have quite a bit of support. Oh, this line right here, this particular line that comes up on the TD sequential, which is about $30,000. So that is something to consider there. Let's look at the 12-hour chart on Bitcoin. No strength here. I don't like, obviously, this crossover here. I don't like breaking below and closing. There's a difference between, for example, this is a wick on the candle that went below that DMA, but what I don't like is the full body of the candle, the open and the close, being below that DMA. So that has me concerning. I mean, so far what I'm seeing is way more indicators telling me that we are going lower than ones that are telling me that we are going higher. 4-hour chart looking weak as well. Bitcoin not making higher highs. at all. So hourly chart also looking extremely weak. I haven't seen one of these charts yet that has me hopeful that we are going to see a momentum shift. So when I saw the charts today, I always check Bitcoin before I check traditional markets. So I was thinking, oh shoot, S&P 500 must be down today. And it was slightly, but I was a little bit surprised of, let's go ahead and zoom out to the hourly chart, of how much it brought down Bitcoin with it. I didn't anticipate that to happen. So honestly, I am surprised that Bitcoin isn't making higher highs, but the truth of the matter is that here's another really good perspective. So Bitcoin is probably most likely controlled by whales, right? People that hold many, many coins. They have the ability and they have the power to move the market. Some people call that manipulation. I don't like that word because it's like, you know what? If you were smart enough to acquire a lot of Bitcoin, you kind of also have the advantage of moving the market whichever way you want. And I'm sure these whales potentially group together and move the market. That's just how markets work. The more money you control, the more power you have. But then we also saw it flip when it came to GameStop and the whole thing that unfolded on Reddit. But obviously, people get caught up when it comes to the whales controlling the crypto space. But when you think of the world in general, money is heavily, heavily concentrated, right? We know that the top 1% pay the majority of taxes. And we know that there's like literally the 7 wealthiest people in the world own like an insane chunk of all wealth in general. So it's not just a cryptocurrency thing, it's just an in general thing of the distribution of wealth, right? It's not balanced at all. And that's just how it goes. And so you can either cry manipulation or you can just accept it for what it is. So back over to the crypto space, this is, oh no, definitely not gold's Peter Schiff. I wonder what he's thinking about these gold prices. So the 30-minute chart making lower lows and 5-minute chart here was trending downwards. We might have a little bit of an uptick here, but I would like to see another higher high and make sure Bitcoin holds that low. But I'm not going to be, trying to trade the 5-minute chart. That is something I will not spend my time doing, especially right now. I think it's just a little bit too high risk. And this is the thing is that, in my opinion, the longer that we see, here, like let's go back out to the daily chart on, this is Ethereum. Let's go back to Bitcoin. The longer that we kind of see Bitcoin kind of like trade within these ranges, the faster I believe it will pop off over time. So that's what has me like content when it comes to price action, is because I think we're just building stability in these price ranges, which can make Bitcoin go parabolic in the future and maybe find support and not go below these levels in the future. Always a possibility, but of course, never a sure thing. Let's look at Ethereum. Let's see here. Before I get into the price of Ethereum, one thing I want to say is this. One thing I've learned in my life is that it's so beneficial to always have something to look forward to. Whether that's like a vacation or just like something really fun that you're going to do, or just waking up in the morning, like, there's things that are on a small scale. Like I always look forward to like going for a walk by the ocean. And then there's big things that are something really exciting to look forward to. And I was having this conversation with a friend a few days ago. And that is when it comes to Bitcoin, I feel like I always have something to look forward to when it comes to my finances and my wealth, just of how big the opportunity of Bitcoin can truly be. So that's like one of my favorite parts about Bitcoin, is that it gives me something to always look forward to. And I always like dream about the really fun and like big experiences that I could potentially have in my life in the next 10 to 20 years because of the potential wealth that Bitcoin's going to give me. And let's say it doesn't happen. I mean, I'm not like, I guess I kind of am depending on it, but if it doesn't happen, I will always find another way to make money and build wealth. So let's look at the 7-day chart on Ethereum. So remember I told you this is a weekly chart, the green crossing below the red. The Ethereum chart is very similar in that sense, but what's interesting here is that on Ethereum, it just crossed below the red. On Bitcoin, it happened weeks ago. So something to keep in mind here. Another thing is that this is kind of crazy, but for some reason, the whole idea of the flippening just kind of crossed my mind when looking at this chart. Bitcoin looks a lot weaker than Ethereum does. Bitcoin has broken below this DMA. Ethereum hasn't really gotten close in that range yet. It hasn't even wicked down to touch it, which that's a really, really big and bold statement of Ethereum flipping Bitcoin, which basically means that the Ethereum market cap would exceed Bitcoin's. It's always a possibility, but yeah, there's just, like, the Ethereum chart took a lot more time to look weaker than the Bitcoin chart, in my opinion. So this is the daily chart on Ethereum, which has gone below the previous low, which has me a little bit concerned that we are going to make lower lows. 12-hour chart here, giving us a little bit of hope as this green moving average is going to potentially cross over the red, but we still need to see a higher high, and we want to see Ethereum to get back over about 4150. That would show us some strength, but we can also anticipate quite a bit of resistance at these two DMAs right up here. This is the 4-hour chart on Ethereum, which actually looks great. It has made a higher high, a little bit of a pullback here. We want to just hold, it's still going to be in a more bearish posture as long as it doesn't break below about 3620. Hourly chart here on Ethereum is looking weak as we have made a lower low. First it was this lower high and then breaking below the low of that candle right there. 30-minute chart looking very weak on Ethereum, so a lot of weakness. So just to kind of give you guys an idea, 90% of my portfolio is Bitcoin and Ethereum, 10% altcoins. The two altcoins that I hold the most of are Link and DOT, but I really don't have Nexo in that equation. I do have quite a significant Nexo holding. Let's really quickly just look at the larger time frames on Link. So Link not giving us, any major key things to lean on, that it is bullish, but it is up 5.5% today, which is exciting. I would love to see Link make a higher high, kind of break above these moving averages and show us some strength there. So Link is kind of looking primed to take off. But then again, it's probably going to be kind of bogged down by the other bearishness in the cryptocurrency space. So like I said, not a ton to see here that has me super convinced that Bitcoin is bullish. So trying to just remain patient. And for me, I'm hodling. I don't have any plans to trade in these current market conditions because I don't see a ton of clarity in either direction. If I saw, the problem is that the charts are leaning more downwards, and I just don't think that the time is right to try to sell my Bitcoin and buy back sooner. So I'm taking more of a conservative approach and just holding all the way through. So that is all that I have for you today. Cheers to 2022. May we all have an amazing year full of gratitude. That's all that I have for you today. As always, go out there and create a portfolio that you love.